Hello guys, welcome to another beautiful vlog. Today it's a beautiful morning and we thank God for another blessed day. So today I want to share with you all how we got here. I want to tell you guys our story and just try to throw a little more light on why we're doing all this. So first off, I'm Mildred Mickey. I'm 34 years old and I have four beautiful children that I left back in Cameroon to travel to America with my husband. So me and my husband, we've been together for over 14 years or 14 years now. But this is not the day for that story. Today I'm telling the story of how and why we left our children back in Cameroon and traveled all the way to America to start life. Back in 2019, just before COVID hit, my husband was already in America. He's been in America for like 13 years now. And so back in 2019, we decided to start a company back in Cameroon, internet company, because he's a network engineer. So we wanted to take his expertise and start something that we could really establish ourselves in the business arena and make some money, because selling internet in Cameroon is really good. It's a really good business. And so we started it. 2019, we started our business. It was going really good. We had a lot of customers. We're making some really good money. And being the young children or the young people that we were at that time, we didn't do a lot of planning financially. The money was coming in and we're excited. So we started building our house, like every young person thinks I need a house. And so we started this massive project of building a very big mansion house. Oh yeah, the business was going good. We're making money, and all of the money that we're making from the business we're putting into the house. And so everything was going good. My husband was working in America, and then he was coming back to Cameroon every other month. He comes and visits, because it has always been like that in our home. He spends a couple of months here, then he comes to Cameroon and spends a couple of months. He spends a couple of months here. So he has always been moving back and forth between the two countries, while me and the kids were just settled in Cameroon. At the time, around 2019, 2020, we had no plans of coming to America. We had no plans. All of our plans we're making were just in Cameroon, growing our business, building our house, establishing ourselves, And the plan our plan was, after we had established our business and our business was stable, he was going to now leave America and join us permanently in Cameroon. So fast forward to 2022, I think, we ran into some problem because we didn't do our due diligence. I will take accountability and I'll take responsibility for that one. We knew some of the things that we needed to do, but we took some things for granted. Being as we were a small company, we didn't do our due diligence, to register our company with the necessary regulatory board in Cameroon that is in charge of internet distributions and whatnot. And so we ran into a problem with the government and they shut us down. Yep. So just imagine now we're in Cameroon, it's around June, we've lost our business and we were just stuck. All the plans that we had, it was gone. We didn't really have a lot of money at hand, because a lot of money that was coming in at the time, we're putting it into a very big house that we're building, really big house. So now everything had to go to a halt. We had just been living the life of people who were making good money, not thinking about the future. So at that point we're everything came to a halt. And so we started thinking about what to do. That is when we actually started thinking about coming back to America. Okay, if Cameroon doesn't work out for us, let's come back to America. But we didn't want to just give up like that and just move over here. So we're okay, let's try a couple of avenues where we could maybe get our business back, maybe get the necessary license. But if you're from Cameroon, you know that there's a lot of red tapes with these things. We jump through hoops, we spend a lot of money to the Lord in trying to get people to help us get this business back, because our business was really good. That business is really good. It was really giving us money. After trying for over a year, just business, going to government offices, giving these people small money, trying to facilitate the getting of this license and things, and it wasn't working, we decided to okay, let's just take a pause on that, figure something else out, something else that we could do for our family too, because we're young, we're trying to make sure that our family and our kids have the best that this life has to offer. It doesn't matter where we are. So that's when we actually started thinking about coming to America. But then my husband had to come. He came back to America and he left us there. And that is when we decided to like shift our focus from the big house. We decided to build our smaller house, like the guest house, and we built it like in a couple of months, like 6 months. We finished that project. We were renting at that time. We left our rental apartment because and we moved into our small guest house that was built. And then it's at that point I was started thinking about coming to America. The thing with coming to America is, since for the last 10 years that my husband has been here, we've never really talked about like getting a home or getting a house here or like really establishing ourselves here. Our whole focus has always been to establish ourselves back in Cameroon, like raising our kids in Cameroon, because I always felt like that was my place of comfort. In Cameroon, I have my family, I have his family, I have my friends. So America was always like at the back. It was never really like the focus. What we always said was one day we could come here, visit, but we were trying to make Cameroon our home. But when our business didn't work out, that is when we started actually thinking about coming to America. And coming to America was not easy because one, we didn't have a house here. Two, I didn't have a job. It's just my husband that has a job. I have never really worked in my entire life. I have worked in my company, but I've never really worked in like a working environment. And three, we have 4 kids and we have a bonus child, like we adopted a child. So we have 5 children. So bringing 5 children to America on one salary without a home to call our own, when we looked at everything put together, that was really going to be difficult. So that's when we made a decision, like, okay, why don't we leave the kids first in Cameroon and file for me first? I can come here, we can like get a home, because I don't trust the man to like get a home by himself. Like, no, I wanted to be involved in the process. But like I could get into school also, like establish myself and get a career before we could bring the kids over here. And so that is how we planned this whole thing. And so we filed for me. The USCIS process is a story for another day. It took way longer than expected. At one point I almost gave up, but then when it finally came out, I was very happy. And so me and him, we left and we came. That is how we got here, because we wanted to come here and establish and make a home for them. Because my husband never, in fact not my husband, we never really tried to establish anything here because our focus was in. When we got here, my husband was living in Georgia, Atlanta. But when I got here, we made our own plans, because we had always wanted, the things that we had in mind were, we wanted a house, a big enough house at a reasonable price, in a good location with good schools and everything, But when we looked into that, they don't tell you, houses in America are expensive, very expensive. All the houses and the neighborhoods that were really good, that we really liked, we could not afford. Like we could not afford, like, for real. Like, the whole idea that I had about America and housing was crushed totally. So when we looked into that, we realized that we could not afford most of the houses and the locations that we really wanted, and the size of the house that was really going to be good for all of us and the kids. That is when we started looking into buying of land. We had talked about buying of land since in Cameroon. Before we even got here, we started looking into the housing market and looking at what we could afford and everything. So when we realized from Cameroon that in America, the houses that we're looking at and that we liked, and in the areas that we liked, we could not afford, that is when we decided that we're going to go the route of buying land. Our intention was never to buy raw land. It was always to buy like a land that was already developed, and then we would probably build our house on it. But when we got here also, we started looking at the lands, because the moment we got here, we got to Atlanta, we moved to Texas. If you've been following my story, or if you've been watching my previous videos, you'll see that I got here and I landed in Atlanta. We're there for like 3 weeks, and then we moved immediately to Texas. When we got to Texas, the first thing that we did was start looking at lands, and we saw like a couple of really nice lands. Some of them were really priced really high, some of them were priced moderately, but they were in flood zones, and we didn't want to risk that. So that is when we came and we saw this beautiful land right here. It was priced beautifully, the location was good, the school zone is good, so we bought it. And that is how we got here. That is why we left our kids back in Cameroon and we came to America. We just did that so that we could come here, get everything ready, and bring our kids into a stable home environment. We didn't want to bring everybody here at the same time and bring them into a situation where we don't have a house, I don't have a job, and we're all struggling on one salary, when we have like a comfortable life back home where they could be there maybe for a year, be comfortable, stay in a place where they already know, and then we come here and we prepare. And I'll tell you, it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, leaving my kids behind. Like every day it's so hard, but then I remind myself, like sometimes you need to make some sacrifices for the well-being of your children, for the growth of the family, because this we're not doing it for ourselves. If it was just for me and my husband, it's not a problem, I mean, but for them we have to make this sacrifice to be here for this time, to develop and to get a home. So as at now, we have a land. It is raw land. That was not our plan, but you know, you plan your way and God direct your path. So we have a raw land and we're trying to develop. Easy. Also, I'm in school right now, so really it's not easy after having not been in school for 13 years. Going back to school is not easy, I'll tell you that for free, but I'm actually loving it because it's giving me like a sense of like purpose why my kids are not here. Because if I did not have anything to do, if I just had to sit down all day without anything to do, I think I'll go mad. But I'm in school right now and it's good, and I hope someday to finish and get a job. That way I can actually also support the family. I just want to, like, I mean, I'm at that place where my youngest is 5, or is almost 5, and he's in school, and I just want to feel like when they get here and they're all in school and doing their own thing, I too can have my own thing that I can be doing and not just have to sit all day at home waiting for them. You know what I'm saying? But that's it. That's our plans. We have a lot planned for the future. We have a lot of plans coming up, and I hope to share all this with you guys. I hope you come along with us for this journey. It is going to be wonderful and it's going to be fabulous. Thank you for watching today. If you watch up to this level, thank you for listening to my story. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you here, and I hope you like and you subscribe to this channel to help me grow. Okay, bye.